All right, everyone. Huge news regarding the big game situation and like them selling the game and stuff like that. Selling the game, Preston quitting, all the other devs quitting, and all sorts of stuff like that. We have a ton of updates. So I'm just going to share them all with you. But real quickly, before I do, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into this. So all these tweets are coming from PetSimNews69 on Twitter. So go ahead, give them a follow. They work really hard to get this stuff out here. So yeah, go ahead, give them a follow here. They're doing a lot of work. Anyways, here we go. So I'll pop this up on screen right now. This is all of the stuff that Coder Joey actually said. Now, Joey is just one of I think honestly at this point one of the lead developers at big games, like one of the lead ones. It's like Adam, him, and then maybe like Mitchell or Connor or whatever. They're like the top dogs now. Preston, apparently what Coder Joey said is apparently Preston isn't as involved anymore. He's still the owner of the company. The company is not sold or anything. He's still the owner, but he's just not as involved as he once was. And he's kind of just not, he's not as involved in the scene. And these developers like Coder Joey and Adam and all of them are kind of like the front men now for big games, which that's perfectly fine. Preston's been working on big games for God, I don't even know how many years now. He's been working at big games and they had the company. He's had it for a very, very long time. So I totally understand that. But let's go ahead and actually read through this. So these are like the big statements that Joey talked about. So here we go. Big Games developer Joey released a few statements earlier via replies recently, and you can look at all these as well if you go to his profile as well. And these are not everything, but these are the important ones. So, first one, they owe the community better and are working on it. This is really, really nice. All right. The updates and communication or whatever, those are like my thing. The main thing for me is communication. Communication is like key for like anything in life. Communication's key, and they really haven't been giving us like too good of communication, and they're going to make a public statement about this soon. Basically what the contents of it, I think we pretty much already know, but they're essentially taking a break. The dev team's taking a break, and they're going to work on other projects of their own. So there's going to be an announcement soon about that on PetSim99. It'll probably be like a dev post or something like that, like on their website. That's what I assume, or it'll just be like a Discord announcement or something. I'm not sure, but they owe to the community better, and that's good that they are taking notes of that. Having PSXR, which is Pet Simulator X Remastered, which if that does become a thing, I'm very excited for because I loved Pet Simulator X. Having it be simple and free to play is better. The fact that one of the big games developers actually said this is a really, really good thing. It's a really, really good sign that it might actually be a really, really good game. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy that the devs are aware that this is a better alternative to something like Pet Simulator X, the original. The original was super, super pay to win. So I'm actually really, really happy that they're taking note of this. And then the final thing here you can see is no PetSim99 update this week, which doesn't even really matter. I haven't been playing PetSim in weeks. So that doesn't really matter too much. I know there's some people that still play it, but the game's like kind of on a downward trajectory right now. The game's at like, I think it had its lowest CCU or whatever like yesterday. So I don't know, man. I don't know, but there's no update this week. Another thing, this is not the end of Pet Simulator updates. So if you're wondering, like, after this break or whatever, if they're going to continue doing PetSim99 updates, then the answer is probably yes. And they talked about doing like holiday updates and stuff like that. I don't know how frequent updates will actually be now, especially since this break. That we're probably not going to get an update for like a good while, I would assume, especially since everyone's so burnt out. But this is not the end. Basically, this isn't the end of Pet Simulator updates. The last update we got or whatever, which I didn't even play, but the last update we got wasn't the last. Now, if y'all remember, Joey was also the one that made the poll about Pet Simulator X Remastered, and you can see he said that Joey is interested in the Pet Simulator X Remastered project, but Preston doesn't seem to be. So this potentially means that Pet Simulator X Remastered isn't going to be released under big games. Rather, it might be released under a different group, or it'll be released just as a solo project under Joey's name. It could be released under just Joey, or it could be released under like a different group. It could be released under that Slashbox Games group that Gavin is now a part of, because he's also a big games dev. So it could be that, it could be released under there. But yeah, I mean I don't know why Preston's not interested in doing that. I don't know. To me it seems like a really really good thing to do, but I I don't know. I'm not Preston, so I don't know. Preston remains the owner, obviously. Already said that, and then Big Games was not sold. It wasn't sold to EA Games. It wasn't sold to the Blox Roots owner. It wasn't sold to anybody. Preston still remains the owner. Now let me actually go to Joey's replies here so I can actually show you all some other stuff. Numerous tweeted why it is the entire dev team struggled to speak, and he said, "We're sorry." That's whatever. At least they responded at some point. Here's what he said about selling the game. He said, "We are not talking to EA Games. I can definitely confirm that. Definitely not a rebrand, at least not an artificial one. Like I said in a previous post, dev team is very much burnt out on updates and are working on personal projects." Also, if anyone was wondering about Pets Go updates, because those just stopped out of nowhere, he said, "We stopped updating Pets Go so that we could release Steal a Pet. So David, Lucas, and I could take time away from PetSim99/Pets Go." That's, I guess, fair, like Pets Go has been a game for a pretty long time now, and I guess, that's pretty fair. Also, this is interesting as well. Someone asked about like the pay to win ideas and like who's behind them or whatever. He said Preston came up with the Forever Pack inspired by a mobile game and exclusive eggs, but this is when he was more present. So some of the pay to win stuff, like actually a lot of the pay to win stuff in the game, isn't even Preston's idea, which I know Preston, just because he's the owner, he always gets labeled as this like pay to win, money hungry person, that just always likes pay to win stuff. But crazy thing is he's not even behind a lot of this stuff. Then there's this too. He said, "Will PS99 get an update this week?" He said, "I don't think so. I think we do owe all of you guys / the community better than what's been happening for sure. We are working on it," which is all we need at this point. We just need a little bit better communication and then stuff like that. Just transparency. Here's where he's talked about updates. He said, "I don't think this is the end of updates. We've spoken about holidays." And then this is what happened with like the previously at stuff. Like people have putting like previously at in their bio, like the devs putting previously at big games in their bio. That this is what freaked people out the most. He said, "Thanks for the communication. It helps the community a lot. Why do people have previously at if they aren't leaving though?" And Joey said, "I don't know, lol, some form of acceptance of having worked on the game for so long." Now, this doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why previously at is in most of these developers' bios. It makes no sense if they're just taking a break and then coming back. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So it was just like a unnecessary thing to put, in my opinion. It was pretty unnecessary, but I don't know. They'll probably take it away once the break is over. But with that, that's pretty much everything I have for this. And yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy that we actually got transparency on this. And yeah, I'm kind of honestly, I'm excited to see where this goes after these developers take a break and stuff like that, because I know they've been working really hard. And then I might make a follow up video to when Big Games makes an announcement or whatever. But I don't know yet, because this is basically all the stuff we have, and it's all the stuff we kind of really need to. So I don't know, we'll see. But that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or it informed you or anything. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.